Welcome back to the Women's Lectionary preaching series based off of the wonderful content in Ashley M. Wilcox's book of the same title, The Women's Lectionary. As always, if you've not yet read the passages referenced in that book for today, they are listed in the description. Go ahead and pause and do that now, and then come on back. Today, just so you know, we are focusing solely on the passage from Luke. In these 10 verses from Luke 15, Jesus tells two parables in his unending quest to help the Pharisees better understand who he is and how the kingdom he is ushering in differs from their expectations. Of the two parables, which is more familiar? The most, maybe only, well-known is the parable of the lost sheep, which is true, I think, thanks in large part to the popular song about leaving the 99 to find the one. But what about the other? About the woman who loses one of her 10 coins? How many people know this parable? Know that it is connected to the other more popular parable? And how many know or understand the significance of that connection and of the parable in and of itself? I'm guessing that number is pretty low. Yet, just because the story is largely untold doesn't mean that it doesn't bear the same weight and significance as the others. Jesus taught in parables to increase the chances that his listeners, both then and now, would better understand the impact of his words on their hearts and on their life. Shepherds would easily resonate with the importance of finding that one lost sheep, even when 99 still remain. Shepherds know their flock. They keep count of them and keep them safe, and if one is missing, that means danger. The shepherd will do everything possible to restore that safety and bring the sheep back to the community it knows. The story resonates, and it is important. It has value. Do you see, though, what's missing? The absence of direct mention of mothers or other female figures does not make their lives and experiences irrelevant. Can women benefit from the parable of the lost sheep? Sure. But how much more of an impact can it have to add an example that reaches those who are even more unseen than shepherds? It's the same reason it's so significant to continue translating the Bible into as many languages and dialects as possible. There's power in hearing the word in one's own language. Thankfully, Luke chooses to record this parable. And I say it that way intentionally. Remember, the absence of something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means there are some who deem it not worthy of being told. Jesus, let's be clear, always included the women. Always. That is his heart and his character. For him, women are never absent. For Jesus, it is unacceptable for a woman to just know that the word man is meant to include everybody. Mankind. No gospel writer is perfect, not even Luke. But Luke did recognize this part of Jesus' heart in a way that others didn't, and therefore he included this parable. This is why the diversity of voices matters. So back to the parable. What we miss in today's translations is a detail about the fact that these 10 coins are significant in their worth. So these 10 coins are equivalent to 10 days worth of wages, which means if she's lost one, that's an entire day's worth of wages gone. loss of just one would cause significant worry, risk to stability, would absolutely cause distress and the described behavior of tearing apart the house until it is found. And finding it, that is certainly worth celebrating. She gathers together her community to join in the celebrating, and in heaven there is joy in the presence of the angels of God. The woman in this example is not a woman of status or power or wealth, a woman who in her time would not be seen, most certainly would not be seen by the scribes and the Pharisees, to whom Jesus is most directly speaking here. So Jesus doubles down on his point to the Pharisees with a second telling of the same parable in an entirely different setting. God rejoices when any sinner repents, no matter their station or status or gender. Today, though it's almost over, is Ascension Day, the day where we remember the resurrected Jesus ascending in sight of his followers, including women, to heaven. It's often an absent part of the story, isn't it? We spend an entire season on Jesus' birth and on his death and resurrection, but the absence of discussion of the ascension does not make it irrelevant. In fact, it's crucial. Each part of Jesus' story has relevance and supports the truth of the other pieces. Remember, the alternate story is already circulating, the story that Jesus did not rise from the dead, but that the disciples came in the middle of the night and stole his body. So the additional witness of Jesus' ascension gives more truth, gives more support for the divinity of Jesus, for the claim of the disciples that the Messiah has come. And who are in that group of witnesses? Women. Women are included in that story. God reveals God's character in the use of this parable of a woman and her lost coin. Reveals a God who sees through all the barriers that society builds straight through to the heart. A God who is always aware to the point that no one ever truly goes missing, because God's love always sees and reaches out a hand. This woman's parable might not be preached, but the absence of the telling doesn't make it or the women she represents irrelevant. Her story is just as real as that of the shepherd and deserves to be told. There is joy in the presence of the angels of God every time her story is told. Why? Because she is called, and she is speaking. Thank you for continuing to come along on this ride. Let's keep it going. Comment. I love to interact with you. Like, share, subscribe, all the things. Is there something that you really want to make sure people see? Give it to them. Share it with them. We want to get these stories out there and join in the joy of the presence of the angels of God. Until Sunday, be well.